I know I've been harping a lot and beating on a dead horse about the Fujifilm XT5 and its shitty autofocus. You're tired of hearing about it and I'm tired of talking about it, but it's only going to stop once it gets fixed. But let's just forget about all that for a second. Let's just forget about the shitty firmware update and let's just talk about the Fujifilm XT5. Would I still recommend the Fujifilm XT5? Even though there has been a few more cameras that have been released since its launch, like the Fujifilm XT5, the Fujifilm XS20. Should you still get the Fujifilm XT5 in 2024 heading into 2025? I've been using the Fujifilm XT5 for almost 2 years now and taken a lot of photos with this camera. Just a side note, guys, you do know that I only did the firmware up for you guys after hearing and seeing so many people complain about how bad it's gotten, to see for myself and then to inform the rest of you guys about my findings. Now, if I didn't have this YouTube channel, I would probably not update the firmware at all because I was very happy with where I was at with the XT5. Oh man, things I do for you guys, the things I do on YouTube. But like I was saying, I really love the XT5. I love the design. I think it's one of the better looking cameras that I own. And just that retro aesthetic, it's pretty cool to look at. I was looking at it the other day against my Sony a7C II, and I was just thinking about how much I admire the look and the dials and everything that comes with it more than the Sony a7C II. The shooting experience overall, however, and as much as it's frustrating to have loads of misfocused shots for what I do, and as frustrating as it is, the images I get are still freaking bangers, and I love the images. I was using this camera with the series 75mm f1.2 sniper lens, and just creating some images with another creator here in the Algarve, and I just love the images that I got with the XT5, and this is with the shitty firmware updates inside. Other than the shitty autofocusing, the pictures that I got of this set was just brilliant. The colors that I got from the XT5 was just so pretty to look at, especially in like sandy beach environment. I love these sets of photo because it gave me like, a bright, happy feeling looking at it. But again, I have to bring it back to the autofocus. It was shit, and it didn't do so well for me in single point autofocusing as well, which I was using the entire time. Now, I'm not going to put the entire blame on the XT5 here, even though I feel that, the firmware has a lot to do with it. But it could also be the fact that I was shooting it wide open at f1.2 that could give me some problems. So going back to that question, should you get a Fujifilm XT5 in 2024? I'm going to put an asterisk beside that because it all depends on where you are and what your needs are, because it's not a one size fits all, even though I feel like the XT5 does have a little bit of everything for everyone. Now let's just say you go for like something like the XT50 because you want to save some money. I don't think as a camera it is better. It has a better value than the Fujifilm XT5. Sure, you get like a small compact camera, but you also get one memory card slot. The XT5 has two. The XT5 is also weather sealed. It has a better battery. It has a better EVF. And that's just for a few $100 extra from the XT50. The XT50 isn't weather sealed. And that goes the same for the XS20 as well. Let's just say you go up to something like the XH2S or the XH2, you're going to have to pay a few $100 extra for features that I feel are very niche for like the targeted group. I find that the XT5 still gives you a good enough performance and it's a camera for most people. Like I said, the weather sealing is good. 40 megapixel sensor is good for cropping. It has good video specs and the EVF is great, lovely retro design, and I still get pleasure shooting with this camera even though it has like shitty autofocusing. Like as a reviewer, I'm going to be honest with you guys and I will always inform you on my findings and my experience. So I'm not going to sugarcoat things. If it's shit, it's shit. If it's great, I will tell you that it's great. So I'll say this, if you guys are still interested in the Fujifilm XT5 in 2024, heading into 2025, you must be aware about the shitty autofocusing that the XT5 has. So at the time of this recording, Fujifilm headquarters have not done anything to rectify this known firmware issue yet. And I also don't know if you order a brand new XT5 now, will it come with the latest firmware pre-installed? I'm hoping that it doesn't and that brand new owners can get the XT5 at the firmware 1.0. If that's the case, then you got yourself an awesome camera with like better autofocusing than what I have now. And I would say that you should get the XT5 in 2024. But don't you dare upgrade to the latest firmware until it's safe to do so. You will stay on that firmware for a very long time. It's a good firmware. Don't go messing around downloading things because you want reality film simulations. It's not worth it. However, if the XT5 does come with the updated firmware where they messed up the autofocus, I would say, you know, test out the autofocus for yourself to see if you can put up with this quirk, because what I shoot and what you shoot can be totally different. Landscape photographers probably don't care about this stuff. They don't have to do anything with tracking. They shoot single point and yeah, they're perfect. They're cool. Otherwise, you can always return it for something different. I hear Amazon has a great return policy. Also, B&H Photo and Adorama has like a 30-day return policy. But yeah, those are my thoughts, guys. I'm still having loads of fun with the XT5. I still love this camera. I've grown a sentimental attachment to this camera, and I don't know. Does that make me weird? I don't know. But yeah. If you're interested in this camera, I'll leave the links to it down below, and let me know your thoughts on the Fujifilm XT5. What is your stand on this like shitty firmware that Fujifilm has been putting out lately? And consider subscribing for more Fujifilm content, and thanks so much.